There is a small group of foods that, when they become part of your routine consistently, can improve many things at the same time. Your energy, your satiety, your gut health, your immunity, your body composition, your heart health, and even your mental clarity. And the most interesting part is that these foods are not expensive, not exotic, and not dependent on any trend. They are much closer to your kitchen than you might think. The problem is that many people spend their whole lives looking for complicated solutions, expensive supplements, miracle formulas, and difficult diets, while ignoring simple, powerful, deeply nourishing foods that could improve the foundation of their health every single day. And that is exactly what I want to talk to you about today. I want to talk about 6 foods that truly deserve a place in the routine of anyone who wants to live better with more balance and less inflammation. I am Edo Rodriguez, a pharmacist, biochemist, and health educator. And what I want to show you here is not a magical promise and not internet exaggeration. It is a practical way of looking at foods with high nutrient density that can be used in real life in a very simple way. The goal is not to create obsession around food. The goal is to help you choose better. Let us start with eggs, because this food was unfairly blamed for a very long time. For many years, people were told that eggs were dangerous, that the yolk was harmful, that it raised cholesterol and should be limited. But science has refined that conversation, and today the discussion is much more intelligent. Eggs are an extremely complete food. They provide high-quality protein, fats, vitamins, minerals, and choline, which is an important nutrient for the brain, the liver, and many other functions in the body. Eggs are also satisfying, and that matters a lot. A person who starts the day with a meal that contains real protein usually feels less early hunger, less urge to snack, and less chaos with refined carbohydrates later in the day. That helps not only with weight, but also with energy, mental stability, and metabolic health. Now, there is an important detail. The problem is usually not the egg itself. The problem is how it is prepared. When you take a good food and drown it in poor quality oil or turn it into part of an ultra-processed meal, you change the whole context. Boiled eggs, scrambled eggs with a little olive oil, eggs prepared simply and intelligently can fit very well into a balanced routine. What makes no sense is demonizing the right food while ignoring the wrong preparation. Another food that deserves a lot of attention is extra virgin olive oil. This is one of the great leaders when we talk about anti-inflammatory eating patterns. Good quality extra virgin olive oil brings antioxidant compounds, helps improve the quality of fat in the diet, and connects very well with cardiovascular health. But here I need to make an important point. Not every olive oil, used in every possible way, delivers the same thing. Ideally, it should be extra virgin, cold-pressed, stored properly, and protected from excessive light and heat. Because even a good fat can lose quality if it is poorly stored, and when that happens, part of the benefit disappears. Olive oil works very well in salads, vegetables, finishing dishes, and even in some light cooking as long as it is used with common sense. It is not liquid magic, but it can be a great ally. It helps bring more satiety to meals, improves the flavor of real food, and contributes to a dietary pattern that is much more favorable for the heart, the blood vessels, and the gut. When a person replaces margarine, ultra-processed sauces, and poor quality oils with a good olive oil, that is already a major step in the right direction. Now I want to talk about spinach, which is a very interesting food when we think about nutrient density. Spinach concentrates vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and fiber. It can help enrich the diet without bringing a heavy calorie load, which is excellent for anyone who wants better health and also for those who want better metabolic control. Spinach stands out for the presence of compounds that are important for the eyes, for immunity, for bone health, and for good intestinal function. And I really like to emphasize that last point because the gut needs real food. It needs fiber, it needs plant diversity, it needs vegetables. Many people want a healthier gut, but they keep eating almost no real plants. That makes the goal very difficult. Spinach can be used in omelets, sautéed dishes, soups, warm meals, fillings, and salads. But I do need to mention that for people with a tendency toward kidney stones, especially oxalate stones, too much may not be the best choice. So once again, balance matters. The food is good, but the person's context always matters too. And since I mentioned something that many people overlook, I want to bring up a food that surprises a lot of people: beet greens. Most people know the root. They use beets in juice, salads, and cooked dishes. But very few remember that the leaves are also highly nutritious. And that shows how often we waste food while also missing opportunities to improve the nutritional value of the plate. Beet greens are rich in fiber, vitamins, and minerals. They can support intestinal function, improve the nutrient quality of meals, and create a much more varied diet. And this detail about variety is important, because gut health does not depend on one superfood. It depends on diversity, on fiber, and on different plant compounds reaching the gut regularly. Many people live on the same 2 or 3 vegetables and forget that the body benefits a lot from rotation and variety. So when you also use the leaves, you are not only saving food, you are also expanding the nutritional quality of your eating routine. They can be sautéed, used in soups, mixed with other vegetables, or added to simple daily meals. Another very interesting food is coconut, both the flesh and the water, as long as we are talking about the most natural version possible. Coconut is a food that brings fats, fiber, and compounds that can support satiety and hydration, depending on how it is used. Coconut water, for example, can be a good occasional option on hotter days or in certain hydration contexts, especially when someone wants to get away from sugary artificial drinks. The flesh of coconut also has its value, especially because it can contribute to fullness and serve as a more interesting alternative than ultra-processed desserts or industrial snacks. But here I make the same point I always make. Quantity matters. Even healthy foods lose their purpose when used in excess. Coconut is nutritious, but it is also more calorie-dense, so it fits well in small portions, used strategically, without exaggeration. And I like to emphasize this because there is a very common mistake in the world of healthy eating. A person discovers that a food is good and then starts consuming it as if there were no context, no dose, and no limit. That is not how health works. What protects health is not an excess of superfoods. It is balanced consistency. And now I want to talk about a food that truly deserves more attention than it usually gets: quinoa. Many people have heard the name, but still have not really brought it into their routine. Quinoa is a pseudo-cereal that is very interesting because it combines protein, fiber, minerals, and a better metabolic response than many of the common carbohydrates in the modern diet. It can help with satiety, intestinal function, glucose stability, and the overall quality of the meal. And that matters a lot, because many times the problem with someone's diet is not just how much they eat. It is the poor quality of the foundation. They eat plenty, but poorly. Little fiber, little variety, little mineral density, little structure. Quinoa can help improve that base. It can replace part of the rice, be used in salads, warm meals, bowls, vegetable combinations, and more complete plates. And because it has an interesting nutritional profile, it helps move the routine away from refined flour, too much bread, too much white rice, and not enough diversity. What I like about these 6 foods is that they are not made for some trendy diet. They are made for real life. Eggs help with protein and satiety. Olive oil improves the quality of fat in the diet. Spinach brings nutrient density and fiber. Beet greens increase variety and reduce waste. Coconut, in the right context, supports satiety and hydration. And quinoa provides structure, nutrients, and a smarter base for meals. But I need to be very honest with you. None of these foods works miracles alone. There is no point putting olive oil on your salad if the rest of your routine is built around ultra-processed food. There is no point eating quinoa at lunch and drinking soda every day. There is no point eating eggs in the morning and spending the rest of the day on crackers, sweet drinks, and snack foods. What makes the difference is the pattern. It is the whole system. It is the repetition. These foods work very well when they become part of a real food routine, with less industrial food, less liquid sugar, less refined flour, less excess, and more simplicity. And that does not mean a sad diet. It means food that truly nourishes. It means stopping the habit of treating the body only with quick fuel and starting to give it material for rebuilding, protection, and stability. Another important point is that accessible does not look the same for everyone. Each person has a routine, a budget, a food culture, and a clinical context. So you do not need to add everything at once, and you do not need to eat all of them every day. You can start with one or two. You can improve breakfast with eggs. You can use olive oil in a more natural meal. You can add spinach or another better chosen leafy green. You can use quinoa 2 or 3 times a week. You can take better advantage of beet grains. You can use coconut in moderation. What matters is that these choices begin to appear more often, because in the end, health is not built with radicalism. It is built with good repetition. It is built when you stop looking for the loudest solution and begin valuing the basics done well. And the basics done well often look too simple to be taken seriously. But that is exactly where their strength lives. So I want to leave you with one reflection. How many truly nourishing foods are missing from your routine, while you still spend time and money on products that look healthy but deliver almost nothing valuable? If this content made sense to you, stay here with me on EDU Health Tips, and tell me in the comments, out of these 6 foods, which one do you eat most often during the week?